AGHAMAZING, my dear students! Welcome back to our science video lesson. I am your science teacher, Teacher Larry, and welcome to AGHAMAZING way of learning science. In our last video, we learned that living things are highly organized and structured. We talked about the different levels of biological organization. If you haven't still watched our video about the different levels of biological organization, you may pause this video to watch it. The link is on the description box below. In this video lesson, we are going to study in detail the simplest level on the biological organization, which is the cell. We are going to learn its different parts and their functions. Are you ready to learn? Let's begin! All living things are made up of cells. Cells are the basic unit of life that can perform all activities associated with life like growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. Every living thing is made up of one or more cells. If a living thing is made up of one cell, they are called unicellular. Examples of unicellular organisms are paramecium, bacteria, and amoeba. On the other hand, if they are made up of more than one cell, they are called multicellular. Examples are human, plants, and animals. Cells are too small to be seen by the naked eye, but thanks to the invention of a microscope, we learned that a microscope enables us to see small things because of its ability to magnify. Scientists were now able to study cells in detail. The first person to observe cell as a microscopic structure was the British scientist Robert Hooke. When he examined a very thin slice of cork, he notices structures that look like a small empty rooms. It reminded him of small rooms found in a monastery. Thus, he named these structures cells, wherein cell is from the Latin word cellulae, which means small room. A cell is made up of tiny organs called organelles that perform specific functions. They are called organelles because they are like a little organs that have its own function. Let us now explore the different parts of a cell. The two types of cells that you are going to encounter in this video are animal cell and plant cell. We will be differentiating both types of cell. But for now, let us talk about its parts and functions first. While cells differ in size and shape, most of them have common structures. The cell of animals, plants, and other related organisms have three basic structures: the cell membrane or the plasma membrane, the nucleus, and the cytoplasm. The cell membrane, also known as the plasma membrane, it encapsulates the contents of a cell. It is like a fence or acts as a gatekeeper to protect the cell from the outside environment. It also controls what materials can go in and out of the cell. Cell membrane is made up of two layers of phospholipids or a phospholipids bilayer. The next part is the nucleus. The nucleus is the most noticeable part of the cell. It appears circular or oval in shape. It contains the deoxyribonucleic acid or the DNA, which is the hereditary material that carries genetic instruction in all living things. It is called as the brain of the cell. because it controls all the activities occurring inside the cell. The cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance that can be found inside the cell. It contains all the organelles of the cell. The first organelle that we are going to study is the mitochondrion, or the mitochondria in its plural form. The mitochondrion acts as the powerhouse of the cell, since it releases the energy needed for the cell activities. They supply energy by undergoing cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is the process that produces adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell. Next, we have the ribosomes. They are tiny organelles like dots that can be seen in the cell that contains the ribonucleic acid, or RNA, and specific proteins within the cytoplasm. The ribosomes are directly involved in the manufacture of proteins. That is why it is considered as the protein factories of the cell. They carry out the instructions coming from the nucleus to synthesize protein. Next, we have the nucleolus. The nucleolus is the prominent round structure in the nucleus. It is where ribosomes are produced. Another organelle of the cell is the endoplasmic reticulum. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum is named so because it appears rough because of the presence of ribosomes. The rough endoplasmic reticulum is involved in the production of various proteins in the cell, antibodies, insulin, as well as transportation of proteins to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. On the other hand, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum appears to be smooth because of its surface does not contain ribosomes. It is involved in the synthesis of lipids that are used to build cell membrane. Other function of its smooth endoplasmic reticulum includes metabolism of carbohydrates, enzyme production in the liver, and contraction of muscle cells in the muscle. Another organelle is the Golgi bodies, or apparatus. The proteins manufactured in the endoplasmic reticulum is transported to the Golgi bodies. The Golgi bodies is called as the mailman of the cell because it is responsible for transporting, modifying, and packaging proteins and lipids into the vesicles for delivery to targeted destination in the cell where they are needed. The next are vacuoles. Vacuoles are coined as the storage rooms of the cell. Vacuoles are membrane-bound structure which main function is for storage of food, water, and even waste. Lysosome is the next organelle. Lysosome is known as the suicidal bag of the cell. Lysosome act as the waste disposal system of the cell by digesting or breaking down the trash or unneeded materials in the cytoplasm. The next organelle is the centrioles. Centrioles are cylindrical structure which plays an important role in the cell division. This structure can only be found on animal cell. Cell division is important in animal cells because it enables the organism to produce new cells needed for the production of new organisms, growth, and maintenance. The next organelles can only be found in plant cell. First is the chloroplast. Chloroplast contain the pigment chlorophyll that captures energy from the sunlight for photosynthesis. Therefore, the chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process through which the plant produces their own food. Animal cells has no chloroplast, thus animal cannot make their own food. The second organelle that can only be found in plant cell is the cell wall. The cell wall is the outer covering positioned next to the cell membrane. Plants have cell walls made of cellulose that protect, support, and give plants their shape. And those are the different parts of the cell and their functions. In summary, The cell is the basic unit of life. It is made up of different organelles that function together to perform a specific functions. Let us have another look on the different parts of the cell, specifically plant and animal cell. In our next video, we are going to learn about the similarities and differences between plant cell and animal cell. See you in our next AGHAMAZING video.